Hey everybody, Cameron Brain here with the Social at Scale podcast. I am the CEO and co-founder of Everyone Social, and apologies for my voice, getting over a cold, getting better. I actually sound much better today than I did yesterday, believe it or not. But for today, I wanted to talk about, it's a little bit more of an amorphous topic, but I think something that is worth thinking about, which is sales and recruiting's use of social and kind of what's happened and what we see happening, where we think we're heading, because I think there's some really interesting and innovative stuff happening right now. And I think it's a bit of a preview of what's to come over the coming months and quarters. So, I think for us as a business, Everyone Social, right? We have been in the business of helping organizations activate their people to use social at work. And our kind of view at the very beginning was that we wanted to build a product that applied to everyone in an organization because everyone has a network, from the intern to the CEO. And one of the really kind of fun and exciting things about building a product and bringing it to market is you constantly learn things. And, whatever ideas you had about, the product and how it would be used and the value it would confer on the user, et cetera, very quickly are challenged once it's actually in the hands of people and you get to see how they actually will use it and, where they think you should take it from there. And one of the, I think, kind of more surprising things to us was just how quickly sales and recruiting teams took to our product and how much they could benefit from social, which, in hindsight, I don't think should be any surprise, right? Sales and recruiters, salespeople and recruiters, totally reliant on developing relationships, fostering relationships with people outside the organization. And social really represents that frontier, right? I think, it's kind of funny to think like how long salespeople and recruiters, relied on email or, even in-person contact or trade shows, when in reality, social media, everyone's on social media and it's 24/7, and there's all sorts of ways you can connect with, engage with people. So over the years, it was really our customers that took us into the sales and recruiting teams. And, we've learned a tremendous amount from them as we worked with them over the years. And one of that was kind of phase one. Phase two was the pandemic. And I think in terms of accelerant, pre-pandemic sales and recruiting use of social, at least our product, was, I think, something that the high performers did. We would do trainings and things with our clients, with their sales teams. We'd participate in sales kickoff events. And anecdotally, I would say, those who are really engaged, those who are our top users, are generally the highest kind of attaining reps. They just get it, right? Like they want any edge that they can get to better connect, to win. And social is great, right? But you really had to, again, I think, kind of have a little bit of vision in order to be bought in. Well, fast forward to the pandemic, and suddenly you've got, entire sales organizations that are basically locked in their house for a period of time. Excuse me. Can't go out, can't connect with people, can't go to events. And it really just raised the tide, I think, on sales and recruiting organizations' use of social. The early adopters, the high performers, were already there, but it focused everyone else. Like, hey, if I'm going to succeed, let alone remain a member of this organization, I got to get on board with this thing because, I don't want to sit here all day and send out emails. I want to be engaging. I want to be communicating with people. So the pandemic was a definite accelerant. And now we're seeing, we're entering a new phase. I don't know if the pandemic's over or not. I think that's kind of beside the point. We all, I think, recognize that a lot of the changes that occurred broadly over the pandemic are not necessarily going away, right? It wasn't just in response to the pandemic. It brought into question a lot of the things that we've just probably done without questioning. Being in the office 5 days a week, all the things that marketing does. I think, the effect on marketing has been quite significant. And, even beyond the effects of the pandemic as it relates to marketing events and things, we have, privacy related legislation, GDPR, the California equivalent, which has had a huge effect and will continue to have a constricting effect on marketing's ability to do kind of one-to-many targeted marketing, especially through channels like email. You've got the social networks, which, are, I think, they're turning the screws as it relates to paid ads. Paid ads are going to only get more expensive over time, which, kind of said differently, will only become less effective. You're going to have to spend more and more money to produce the same results. So, the entire world of marketing is changing, and that's probably a topic for another podcast because I don't think, they've actually kind of come to terms with that. But as we look forward as it relates to sales and recruiting's use of social, the economic environment that we are in today is totally different than what it was, just a few short months ago. At the very top level, businesses are having to make very serious decisions about their investments, about what they're placing bets on. Free, cheap money is gone. And, growth, the ability to achieve growth is going to be at a, absolute premium. People are thinking about even more basic things like survival, even at the kind of highest levels of an organization. So, I think there's a real kind of brass tacks mentality coming in at the top level. And I think it's coming in at the bottom level as well. Everyone, and I think in particular salespeople and recruiters, just because they're perhaps a bit more attuned to this, are thinking, how do I not only secure my place in this organization going forward, but how am I going to be successful? And how am I going to be successful in an environment where selling and recruiting is going to be harder? So, having an edge is no longer just a luxury. It's an absolute necessity. And, social, continues to represent, I think, really the, efficient frontier, kind of the greatest area of opportunity. Now, what we're seeing, in terms of all this is happening, what are we actually seeing? Well, I think it's not only forcing more sales and recruiting teams, to get onto social. I think this is also driven by the fact that we've seen kind of increased use of social by senior level executives, which of course just, drives everyone towards that destination as well. But data is becoming a bigger and bigger thing, which, I know that sounds like a little bit of a tired thing. Data, and data's been big for a while. I'm aware of that. But I think we're seeing changes in kind of how organizations are thinking about social data, how salespeople and recruiters can use and leverage social data, what we as a platform are able to do with data, to put salespeople and recruiters in a better position to understand their networks, understand who they should be engaging with, understand how they can be better engaging in their networks, who's engaging with their content. All of these questions that, I think to a degree we've wanted to kind of answer for quite some time, but find ourselves in the position of being able to answer now. And it's just really, really exciting. I think, it's going to be another difficult period. There's going to be a lot of difficult decisions that people are going to have to make at an individual level for themselves, for their businesses. But, similar to the pandemic, I think getting down to brass tacks, thinking about, what are the things that are really going to make us successful versus all the other stuff that, kind of is just unproven fluff. And I think we're all going to be better off for it. As with all things, this too will pass, but data, I think, is the big thing around social selling and recruiting going forward. And we're going to be making some announcements and things as it relates to our own product and some of the things that our clients are doing. But I'm just extremely excited, and I think it has the potential to benefit everyone. Of course, if you're an organization, you have salespeople. Even if you're not recruiting now, I think this is something to kind of be aware of in terms of, what best practice and standard is, where things are heading. and social, and in particular, more sophisticated, targeted use of social through your salespeople and recruiters as individuals, this is where things are heading. I think, gone are the days of salespeople and recruiting, sitting around kind of waiting for leads to be generated from, some more kind of one-to-many centralized marketing team. So anyways, a lot more on this topic to come with a lot more specifics, but just wanted to kind of share some thoughts on where we see things heading and how we see kind of the weather changing. So thank you for your time, and look forward to having you back on a next episode.